Hey Miller, welcome back to the channel. I thought I would make a video on my current net worth. We reached the $2 million net worth milestone. I can call myself for bragging rights a multimillionaire. I definitely don't feel like one, but you run the numbers. That's supposedly what we are. So I thought I would share, not to brag, but to motivate. If you're in a 9 to 5, if you're working and you feel that you're not getting ahead, this is some motivation to let you know that we started from the very bottom. When I got married with my wife, I brought her to my parents' house and I had a mattress on the floor. That's all I had to offer. I was going to college and was a part-time writing tutor. I was making $10 an hour, not making much. I was only working 19 hours a week. My weekly pay was $190. Could imagine to buy Pampers, put gas in the car, and buy college supplies, books. It was hard. Everything's possible if you put your mind to it. This is just some motivation. I don't pretend to know it all. I don't pretend to have the highest net worth. There's people that are younger than me that are worth 20 million, 30 million, even 100 million. So just some motivation. If you're starting out, this will motivate you to know that you can also do it. I'm a Hispanic, first US generation. We live here in the border of Mexico. It's possible. As you can see, I have been tracking my net worth for a while. I have some other files in a USB, but I believe I've been tracking my net worth for about 10 years. We have here about 4 years of tracking. I was asked by a good friend how you measure your net worth. Many people think that net worth is how much money you have in the bank account or how much money you have liquid funds. But actually, net worth is adding up all the valuable things you own and subtracting all your debt. So as you can see, in value, I have a little more than $3 million, but I owe a little more than $1 million. And then if you subtract these two numbers, you end up with the equity. How I like to explain it to my kids is, if all of a sudden I have to sell everything and I have to pay off everything because I'm gonna move to another country, I wanna start over fresh, I wanna sell everything I own and pay off everything that I owe, I will walk away with a little more than $2 million. This is basically my net worth. My net worth is comprised of mostly properties. As you can see, all the lines in yellow are properties. Some of them are sold and they owe me. For example, the first one, Cedar Avenue, I left out the exact address for privacy purposes, but I don't think scammers can do much with the street. So I did put the street so it can give a little bit more validity to what I'm saying. So this property is actually a church that I sold. I bought it in cash. I rehabbed it and I sold it. I collected a $50,000 down payment, and I am still owed $338,419. There's no loan, so this is my equity. So this is basically a note that I own. I'm acting like the bank. The 338,000 are owed at a 10% interest rate. As you can see, I like to check my net worth every month. You don't have to do it every month, but this is something I like doing to monitor how we are doing. I see it basically as a report card. That way, at the end of the year, you don't have any surprises. As you can see here, my end of the year goal for 2024 is to have a net worth of $2.5 million. I want to grow my net worth about $700,000 in 1 year. I don't always hit my goals, but it's good to have goals. That way, you know what you're striving for. I'm just gonna show you what I do every month. So, for example, this property cedar, I'm thinking that if I do it, you guys are gonna see the addresses, but I really don't care. I love using Microsoft 365 because I can access my files anywhere in the world, and I believe I pay about $15. I think, I'm not sure to be honest, but it's not much, and I can access my files anywhere as long as I have internet. So I'm gonna look for the cedar property, and this is an amortization that I created. As you can see, this property, I sold it for $399, as I mentioned, and I received a $50,000 down payment. I financed $349, and I am charging a 10% interest rate, or a 0.83 interest rate a month, and the term is 180 months, which is 15 years. This is the monthly payments, payment per period, and this is the total interest that I will be collecting if they take the full 15 years to pay me off. So this is already created. Every month I plug in the amount that they are paying. I haven't done any changes since they have been paying the monthly minimum payment, which is 37.50.37. So as you can see, February is already highlighted because they already paid. Right now, this is the balance that I'm owed. I get this amount and I plug the value. I love this Excel because it also tells me how much interest I am collecting every month and the cumulative interest that I have collected in the whole term. In the 12 months, I have collected $34,000 of interest. The same thing, how much principal they're paying down of the balance. The previous balance was 339, 341, 83, and then they paid off 922 of principal. That's why we ended up with a 338. So far they have paid 10,580 of the original balance, which was the 349. So as you can see, they still have a long way to go. If they give me a larger payment, let's say next month they want to pay, instead of the 37.50, they say, oh, I'm going to give you $10,000, Sergio. $10,000. So I just plug in here the $10,000. I put 100,000. So one less zero. And the balance changes, and then the terms change. Now, instead of finishing in 180 payments, you can see that they're going to save like 7 payments because they're going to end sooner. Honestly, I don't think I created this. I don't even remember where I got it from. I think I found it online, this Excel. But I'm sure I can create one. I don't think I created this one. I don't want to lie to you guys. But this is basically what I do every month to check my net worth. The second line is the in and out business and the inventory. So this is actually my grocery store, not counting the building. So it's just the actual business and the inventory. As I mentioned before, I pay myself $3,000 a week, which is $156,000. You can say that I pay myself a little bit more because I also pay my truck payments, but let's just count the 156,000. So what I did is I just multiplied times 2. I got a 2-year valuation, which should be 156 times 2, what is it, 312? And we probably have around $80,000 of inventory. This figure should be closer to 400,000, but I was trying to be conservative, so I put 300,000 as the value of the business because we can think that it's worth $1 million, but if nobody's paying it, who cares what we think? My homestead, I put $350,000. This value is my opinion. You can always check Zillow for a Zestimate. So I'm not gonna put in my address, but I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna check my old address where I used to live with my parents. I go to Zillow, and as you can see, my parents sold this property. We moved into that house when I was probably around 14, maybe like a freshman in high school. We lived here where I got married, and this is where I brought my wife. The Zestimate is 253,000. This can give you a rough idea of what the house is worth if you don't have experience in the market. Another place where you can check is the county value. For my city is Webb County Appraisal District. I go to online services and then property search, and then I'm gonna search for the address. It still shows in my parents' name, but they sold it. So you scroll down where it says value, and for 2023, they're appraising the house at $282,000. I use this Webb County Appraisal District page a lot. It's where I check the size of the lots, the size of the house. You can also see the taxes, the improvements, which is basically the building. It tells you the measurements, the land, when it was built. Now, not everything is 100% accurate, but it can give you an idea. And then they sold it outright, which is a warranty deed. Whenever it has a lien, it's going to say lien. Whenever it says warranty deed, that means that they bought it outright. This is the value of the homesteads. In Zillow, it's a little bit less. I'm not using Zillow value. I'm using the value based on my experience because I built a swimming pool and I recently remodeled my home, so I think it's worth around $350,000. Now, I do have a mortgage on my house. I basically took over payments. I assumed the loan, and I owe $97,000. So as you can see, my equity is about $250,000. If you go down the list, some of them are going to be properties that I own, some that I have sold. For example, this next one, the New York, a sixplex that I own. They're all rented by Section 8 housing tenants. It's worth around $510,000, and I owe $282,000. So I have some equity there. And as you can see, millionaires, I listed all my values and loans based on equity from highest to lowest. This is the apartments that I sold. owner finance. I collected a down payment. I already paid them off. I have a note. I'm acting as the bank. I am owed $203,000. This is the property of the store, the building, and the lands. I think it's worth around $200,000. Lately, the market has appreciated a lot. I think this property is worth closer to $300,000, but I left it at $200,000 for now. Trying to be conservative again. What I kind of dislike about selling properties, owner finance, is every month this value decreases. So instead of growing, it goes lower and lower. Why? Because I'm getting paid off. So every month, as you can see, the number keeps going down. Almost $1,000 of equity is being lost. That's one of the downsides of selling a property, is that instead of increasing, for example, the New York goes up 3 or 4% in value every year. The ones that are sold are decreasing in value because they're paying me off. I'm sure you guys are noticing the difference between when I use a script and when I don't use a script. I like writing the script because I love writing, but I think it feels more natural whenever I just speak from my heart, and you guys can hear when I struggle to get my words out. I mean, this is the real me. If you talk to me, this is what you're gonna hear in person. These ones that say Cadena, the only reason I put the address is because I bought 3 different properties in a nearby city, and they're on the same streets. I bought 4 properties together from an investor. It was the 3 Cadena ones and this Rosales one. I bought them for 120. I gave them $20,000 down, and I still owe, well, the 100,000 plus I already gave a payment, so I owe 99,000. So the only reason why this is negative equity is because this mortgage is for the 4 properties. As you can see, the one in green, I have a little bit of money when I was working in my 401k. When I quit, it was around $10,000, and the market has been good. In the last few months, I increased about $2,000. This double white is a mobile home that I just bought. I paid $4,000. I need to move it from the property because I just bought the mobile home. I'm gonna be making a video on that. I still have to find a lot of land to put it on. But once I put it on a lot, which I'm probably gonna pay around 60 or 70,000, and once I rehab it, I'm sure this property is gonna be worth around $150,000. I paid $4,000 for the mobile home. I'm gonna pay $5,400 to move it. I'm thinking of buying a lot for $70,000, and then let's say I put $30,000 so I can make it real nice. So if you add all this, I'm gonna invest about $110,000, and it's gonna be worth around $150,000. I'm gonna make about $40,000 of equity by doing this work. Probably less because I think I can rehab it for a lot less, but just using those numbers, I'm gonna be making up around $40,000 or $50,000 of equity with that property. Expect a video soon. Every week I get $200 for myself, so I can buy clothes or whatever I want. And most of the time, I end up just dumping them into the stock markets. Right now, I almost have $7,000 in the stock markets. Been buying Home Depot and the S&P 500. Just dabbling with the stock markets, not really a stock investor. The ones in orange are our vehicles, and as you can see, my truck is a little bit underwater, and this one is probably breaking even. When I used to work as a teacher, I left some money in the retirement, about $400. This one is kind of embarrassing because I don't have any money, because every month we have $12,000 or $13,000 left over, but every month I invest them. I mean, being transparent, I don't have any reserves. I don't like to preach that, but I'm just being honest. Every month when I get the $12,000 or $13,000, I try to buy something else, try to grow my cash flow. I never have money saved up. My wife doesn't like that. She would like for us to have some reserves, and I can understand her points, but it's just very hard for me to save money. When I see opportunities, I jump on the opportunities, and it's a constant battle. But I mean, so far it has worked. I'm paying the IRS some money that I owe them. I'm paying them $2,000 a month. We should be done pretty quick. And these two, the Wells Fargo credit card and the Wells Fargo line of credits, I just ramped up about a month ago because I bought the properties that I mentioned earlier. I owe about $30,000. Right now I'm rehabbing the properties. I should be done. This will take about 2 months of our cash flow to pay off. I'm not really worried. This is a personal loan from a relative. We're paying them 12% interest only. So we pay them $400 a month or 1% a month. I know we're throwing money away paying 12% interest, but I haven't made time to pay them back. It's an older relative in their 80s, so they're happy collecting the interest. And we're happy that we're helping them to have a little bit more cash flow a month. Plus, we get to use $40,000 to buy more assets. In the last 2 months, I bought 6 properties. I'll highlight them blue so we can differentiate them. Like I mentioned, I bought this 4 together as a package deal for $120. Then I bought the double white. I bought Pine, the one that I'm rehabbing right now where they stole my AC units on Christmas. And then I bought another one recently, which is this one that I'm gonna start rehabbing soon. In the last, let's say 3 months, I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We bought 7 properties in the last few months. So that's why you see a very big jump in net worth, and it catapulted us to cross the $2 million mark. I know this has been a long video, guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions on how to grow your net worth. It's very important for you to measure your net worth every single month so you can keep track on how you're doing. Like I mentioned, checking your net worth is basically the adult version of the report card. When we were in school, we would measure our progress with a report card. Now that we're adults, we should be checking our net worth every few months or every month if you can. It only takes me probably around 15 minutes to update this because I just go down the line. I just look for the amortization for each property, how much I'm owed, and the ones that I own and are not sold, I just check them in Zillow or do a rough estimate of what I think they are worth. With this $2 million portfolio, we make about $23,000 or $24,000 a month. Now, I know that there's no way you would make that in the stock market by having a $2 million portfolio. If I got $2 million in the stock markets and I would use the 4% rule, I would be able to pay myself $80,000 a year or $6,666 a month, almost $7,000 a month. Right now, we currently make about, I want to say, very close to $25,000 a month. Now, I know that it's not the same thing because we have a business. From the convenience store, we pay ourselves $13,000 a month. The other $10,000 or $11,000 are from our rental properties and the owner financing business. I believe we make between $23,000 and $25,000 a month. It depends if everything's rented or if I'm rehabbing properties. So it does vary between $22,000 and $25,000 a month. But we live very comfortably. We spend about $10,000 for our family expenses, and the other $12,000 or $13,000 every month that are left over are used to either pay off debt. Last year, almost the whole year was dedicated to paying off debts. When we first started last year in January, the snowball was a lot smaller. We started paying off debt and the snowball started growing and growing. And as I mentioned right now, the snowball is around $13,000, which is the $23,000 or $24,000 minus the $10,000 living expenses. The $12,000 or $13,000 that are left over are being used every month to buy properties, rehab them, and rent them out. So my plan this year was to buy a property every month. So the goal was to purchase 12 properties. Starter homes, nothing fancy. Properties are maybe $70,000 to $120,000. So far I bought 7 properties, which as you can see, some of them are worth very little. This one's worth $48,000. These ones are worth $40,000. Some of them are worth more once they're rehabbed. But the plan is to continue buying more rental properties and grow my rental portfolio. I don't mind investing the down payments and the rehab costs and just renting them out for long term. I'm financing the properties at a 10 or 15-year mortgage. So in 15 years, I should have a lot of paid off houses in my portfolio. So this is the end of the video, millionaires. Thanks a lot for watching my channel, for watching my videos, for commenting, for sharing. Once again, the purpose of this video was to motivate you that everything's possible. If you're a minority like myself, it's possible. If you're born here in the States from immigrant parents, it's possible. If you are starting with nothing or negative, it's possible. Remember, I started with my wife with an old mattress on the floor. And right now, we get to enjoy life a little bit more. So keep hustling, keep working hard. Forget about the partying. Concentrate on your wealth. And it's going to pay off in the future. Thanks a lot, millionaires. Peace.